Everyone, Steve here for Who Took My Dice Miniature Wargaming. Today on Age of Nurgle, Part 2, we're going to be looking at the leader of the Death Guard, the Lord of Contagion. Now, you've probably seen his stats online. They are very impressive, but I want to go over them. This guy is a close combat monster, just kind of the way Nurgle should be. He's got all the cool stuff that basically the Death Guard we saw in the last video have. He's got the toughness 5, right? He has disgusting resilient, so he's got that 5 or 6. He basically ignores the wound he just lost. But he has a ton of other stuff that really sets him apart. Now, stat-wise, weapon skill 2+, right? Makes sense. Strength 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds. That seems to be the trend. 4 attacks, leadership 9, which is good, and a 2+ armor save. We'll get to that 2+ armor save, and the reason why his movement is only 4 in a minute. So, as I said, guy's Lord of Contagion. He's the Death Guard, Nurgle's Plague Marines, right? So, of course, he has the Plague Reaper, which is, from the image I've seen, it looks somewhere like a cross between a scythe and an axe and other weird grindy gear stuff. It's really weird, but it's pretty nasty. So it's +2 strength. It's AP -3. It's damage 3, so it just does 3 damage, period, which is actually puts it above that bolter power fist combination that the captain has. And of course, to keep the trend going with it being Nurgle, you can re-roll wound rolls of 1 for this weapon. So again, already he's very resilient, very damaging, and he can re-roll the damage, right? He does have Death to the False Emperor. Still not 100% sure what that means. Still has disgustingly resilient, much like the Death Guard we saw. And he just gets better for him. If you're a Nurgle fan, you're going to love this guy. So he has a thing called Nurdles Gift. So all Death Guard models in 7 inches of small are surrounded by a deadly aura of plague and disease. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit that is within 1 inch of 1 or more of such models at the start of your turn. On a 4+, that unit suffers a mortal wound. So it kind of dictates, well, not dictates, but suggests where he should be. See, he's also movement 4, which means he's going to move a lot slower. And when it comes to movement, he doesn't have a lot of luck. So he has Cataphractii armor, which I love. I'll go on a side tangent here. Something I've noticed with this set, with having the Primaris Marine sort of set up like the old Legion, the Death Guard models looking like that they're wearing the old Mach 2 armor, that plate mail, right? The Crusade armor, the old style bolters and plasma guns. And this guy in Cataphractii armor, right? It's like they're paying an ode to the past of Warhammer, right? Of Warhammer 40,000, I should say. So he's got Cataphractii armor. So he has a 4+ invulnerable save, but you must have the result of the dice rolled when determining how far he advances. And advances with a capital A. That's the movement we have. You can instead of running now, you advance. So basically, when you move a guy, you say, I'm going to advance him. You roll a d6, add it to your normal movement. That's how far he goes. So he halves his. So at most, the very most, you're only ever going to go 7 inches with this guy in a turn, which is fine. It'll help him move up, but most characters can go 12 if they roll well, right? So he's always going to be a bit farther behind, which is why I think Nurdles Gift is pretty cool. You don't have to get him right up close yet. Let your Death Guard get to the enemy first and then move him up. And on a 4+, you start causing mortal wounds, which is fantastic. Now, if you haven't seen what mortal wounds do yet, a mortal wound is one that you just cannot save. You just can't. A mortal wound, it goes through armor, it goes through invulnerable saves, you're just dead. That's it. That's why that new psychic power, new smite is deadly, because it does, I think, like D6 or D3 or D6, I can't remember, mortal wounds. I think it's D3, yeah. D3 mortal wounds a turn, which is really, really nasty. All right. He also has Teleport Strike. Now, this is really cool. This is a good way, and again, another tactical option for him, which is also the trend. During deployment, you can set this up what they call the Teleportarium Chamber. Right? So obviously somewhere off in the warp or on a ship, what have you. And instead of placing in the battlefield, at the end of movement your phase, you can deep strike him. So you can use a teleport strike to arrive on the battlefield. Set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy model. Now, I don't know what the exact wording or how a teleport strike is actually going to work. We haven't gotten that information yet. Hopefully, it'll come out soon. It's June 3rd today, so today is when the pre-releases start. So hopefully, we'll see some of that come out soon. For faction keywords, the keywords is Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, Death Guard, which is what we saw in the other guys. His Plague Marines. He's got Character, Infantry, Terminator, and Lord of Contagion. So all that stuff. This guy is going to be a close combat monster. There's not a lot that's going to be able to hurt him right off the bat. Again, toughness 5, a 2+ armor save, being able on a 5 or 6 to ignore a lost wound, a 4+ invulnerable save, being strength 6 on the attack with his Plague Reaper, -3 AP, and doing 3 damage every turn. This guy's potential to do 12 wounds in a turn. That's wiping out a full squad. I like it because it's making these Chaos Lords really scary again. Yes, he's slow because, one, he's wearing incredibly heavy armor. It's very protective, but very heavy. And Nurgle Marines, Plague Marines, what have you, seem to, they're going to be a bit slower because of the bulk that they are now. The pustulence and the built-up, disgusting, bloated bodies. He's really, really powerful, though. And they should be. They should be scary. You should be not hesitant, but maybe anxious to go up against these guys in close combat because they are going to wreck you. I'm really impressed with how the model looks. The rules are really, really cool. And I'm really hoping to know what Death to the False Emperor is. I have a feeling it's probably hatred against loyalist Space Marines, kind of like Veterans of Long War is. I think I've mentioned that before. But just a really, really cool looking model. And I'm going to say he's almost reminiscent, the way the form is, the way he's holding the axe, even the way that his intestines seem to be coming out, is very reminiscent of that Nurgle champion, Nurgle Lord they had for Warhammer Fantasy now, Age of Sigmar, the one with the big axe that everybody's messed with at some point in their hobby and career. It just seems like they just took that and said, okay, well, let's make him into a Death Guard Marine. A Death Guard Lord. I really like this model. There's a lot of tricks to this guy. He's slow, but with teleport strike and the Death Guard. So you basically have to be 6 to 7 inches away from units, and anything within 1 inch of them, as long as they're within that 7-inch bubble, you can be hitting multiple units all at once, and have him just standing in the middle, and all of them are going to take a mortal wound, which is really, really nasty on a 4+, obviously. It's a great way, and it's another great sort of game realization of what Nurgle should do. I can see this guy just standing there in the middle of the field with his warriors locked in combat with, the Primaris Marines, and all of a sudden, he just lets out this blast of etheric energy that powers up his men, and all of a sudden, here and there, Primaris Marine drops, his armor corroded, his insides turned to goo. It's just really, really cool imagery. But I'll leave it there. That's the Lord of Contagion. The next one I'll be looking at probably either the Poxwalkers, which are, I guess, sort of the zombie-ish type guys, or the Bloat Drone, which I think is really, really cool because that's also a throwback to the good old days of the Heresy. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you very much as usual. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Always like to have more people in the community. I like reaching out to more people. It's the fun side. It's the real fun side of this. And if you want to support the channel in a more personal way, I do have a Patreon page as well. So please check that out. The Facebook page, Twitter. I've got everything, and I'm working on it. Some of it's in its infancy, but as always, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much. And as always, keep rolling those dice.